Hey everybody, Rhadamant here. Thanks for tuning in to episode 14 of RimWorld Survival. So last episode was very peaceful. Makes me worried about what's going to happen this episode. But also, you all voted for some goals. So the top 3 that got voted on: a bionic spine for Tony, tunneling towards the ancient danger, and making up my own goal. All the other goals that I'd completed, I took off the list because, well, we're done with them. Alright, so we are leaving off with these guys here, and if I am double tasked to dig towards the ancient danger, which I am, opening it and digging towards it, I'm gonna prepare to do something like that this episode. The ancient danger, I'm assuming, I actually haven't gotten close enough to trigger it, is there. So I have a lot of tips that I wanted to go over, so I'm going to play on slow so that nothing terrible can happen while I am doing just that. Let's see. Yes. Making sure that the pathing is all correct, and it is. Alright, so tip number 1, or feedback number 1, and they're not all tips. Aline Sayers mentioned that this tile right here ends up being used for the horseshoe pin. I'm going to put a statue there, and I'm going to move this light bulb. And now we should, when using the horseshoe pin, not become needlessly, pointlessly, dangerously irradiated. So that's good. Alright, I'm just going to take a moment to reinstall some chairs so that we don't eat without a table and make everyone upset. You know how it goes. Alright, here we go. Some chairs. Okay, another tip from Conrad. Adding a second conduit from my source of power to the base, just in case something terrible would happen, and like this line right here. If something happened to that line, I would be without power. I would be very, very much without power. So, yeah, that's actually pretty easy to solve. Just a second line of conduit, and I'll get that working. So, good point there. Okay, so I have a request to explain some pathing issues. So, the way that the pathing works for zones, as long as your zone is one uniform shape, they'll never leave that shape. So if you add in islands like this, they will leave the pathing to go to the island, but if you have one uniform path, they won't leave it. There is an exception, however, and this is much easier to show than to explain. So let's say I set up a mining zone like this. Let me bring that back up. My people could mine this way, or they could mine in from the north, which means they could leave to go to this tile right here. So that is the reason why it looked like people were going outside, leaving this path, was they were actually just trying to mine in reverse. So if I'm ever trying to mine out a tunnel, like I did here or here, all I got to do is set it up to mine out to the edge like this, and then once we're done, add one more. And then it should be fine. Then we won't be going outside. That is just the way pathing works. Sort of the way pathing works, it allows work to be done anywhere that is unrestricted, but it doesn't consider where you're currently standing. So, for instance, if I wanted to mine things out, right now this is outside of the allowed area, right? Because if we look at the path here, it doesn't include it. But that doesn't really make sense, does it, right? Because aggro can obviously stand on the path and mine it, but the inverse is also true. If I add that steel to the path and remove the actual walkway to the path, I actually can mine this. So what it's doing is it's considering where I'm allowed to work, not where I'm allowed to stand. And that's kind of the way pathing works in a nutshell, and a few people wanted me to sort of fully explain that. Raven and Kiara, oh boy, time to butcher that name, suggested I can put my blocks down here. So, sure, Stone blocks. That's a good area for future storage. This was a naturally occurring tunnel. All right, so manufactured, go down to... what am I doing? Is it a raw resource? Yeah, it's a raw resource, of course. Even though we manufacture it, it's still a raw resource. Does it make sense? No, but does it need to? Not really. All right. Other tips. Sun lamp is off. Yep. That was because our batteries were dangerously low, and now they're not, and I really should start growing again. However, we had a lot of food, so it's not like I'm in any... I'm not endangering myself by not having that up. Alright, Mr. Janes. If we want the second path, as I just explained how pathing works, I'm going to need to... Oh, yep, and see, here he is. Cool, solar flare. Turn on the grow light and immediately don't get to use the grow light. That's just the way it works sometimes. Alright, well, it's going to get cold and probably going to kill off crops, so anything that I can harvest, I should harvest. Aggro here having a fun time mining out all this steel. Alright. I need to wait until the radiation buildup has been reduced a bit and push towards the ancient danger. Other tips. Matt's V mentioned it takes a very long time to cross the hydroponic farm. And a solution could be, not that it would look great, is to allow them to walk. Yeah, okay, I can get behind that. I'm just brainstorming how it would look, because my research bench is kind of in the way as well. I know what you mean. I actually had this thought, believe it or not. And I hadn't actually done it. So basically, the idea is to create a path that is traversable along the edge of the farm, and use that instead of moving the way we're moving. Something like this. And that all has overhead mountain, and then I would just need to double insulate it again. Totally makes sense to me. Alright, what is aggro is cooking? And I've added this to the... Oops, the no radiation zone, so we should be able to work there. Alright, here comes Janes. And what I'm going to do is add a marble door in and leave it open. Okay, that actually was a short solar flare. Much shorter than I thought it would be. So my plants survived, although barely. Wow. Very barely. I got lucky there, I think. Yeah, some of them died, but not all of them. And that's what counts. Tony's father was also rescuable. Guarded by 2 dromedaries. 2 silly little camels trying to kill Tony's daddy. The ideal choice would be to have Tony go out there, but given Tony's bad back and all, Stormy and Aggro, I think, are going to be the ones that I conscript to do this task. Let's see. Storm and... Okay, they are too heavy to go together. I really want 2 of them, just in case something bad is to happen. It helps to have backup. Multi-analyzer is done. That's awesome. I don't have a multi-analyzer yet, but I plan on it. Long-range mineral scan. Precision. Ooh, precision rifling would be pretty good. I'm trying to think if there is anything else that I've overlooked. Actually, I need to do prosthetics, because I need to work towards the goals that you all voted for. So even though I'd prefer to have something else, because I don't have a multi-analyzer yet, I will work towards your voted goals. Alright, we don't have the plasteel, but we do have the gold, and we don't have enough stored components. A lot of people have been mentioning I should add more batteries. I have no components. Yes, there are components on the world, like in the ship chunks, and there are some that are mineable that I could get. Actually, I don't even know where the closest ones that fit that bill are. But I need to be very careful about how many components I use, because once I unlock fabrication, until I unlock fabrication, I have a finite amount. You were digging it. See, here's my point. He's digging at this marble here because the marble tile itself is allowed, but yeah. All right, so you were there for 13 more days. I'm going to leave him there for some of that time. The pond kind of doesn't exist until you go there and rescue. It's not like their condition gets worse or anything. So it's not super urgent. Wowzers, look at Tony. I don't know who's been hauling all this stone. I haven't really been checking, but sure is a lot of it. We are in August, and it's not cold enough to make me worry, but it's somewhat cold in this environment. Yeah, I know, some things aren't double insulated. You didn't tell me that. I am aware. I'm very happy to have the additional steel, however. That's very nice. Okay, so we destroyed some of the cabling. We can put that back. Good. And now the statue prevents them from harming themselves, and it provides a little bit of beauty. So I guess that's good. And then what I ought to do, as soon as I mine this, it becomes exposed. So before I mine that out, I need to send Janes out. I'm sorry, Janes. To add to the wall so that we don't open our base to the super cold. Alright, there we go. Now, we're single insulated in some of these spots. Something I will aim to fix. Alright, just finish off digging there. And then we'll add a marble door in here that stays open. And I'll have to clean it up so it looks not like terrible. Much faster pathing. I like that tip. I'm glad I did it. Helps me move around the base a bit. What I might end up doing is getting rid of the... Or I'll put in walls here and move the power cables to the walls. Alright, for now, I think we have enough steel. We can always leave the steel. Okay, sure, I guess. Build a roof there. I don't know what any difference that will make. So I did get to make up my own goal this episode, so that should be cool. Or this, I don't know, voting period. Yikes. So when we create stone blocks, let's drop them on the floor, because that was a lot of running. Mr. Aggro. Once we remove these chunks, we'll definitely move around a lot faster. And then, of course, when we smooth it out, we'll move even faster. The rough stone allows you to move at 93%, I believe. Yep. And smooth will be 100. Ooh, you were unrestricted, and that is entirely my fault. So let's fix that. Leave him to heal for a while. Chased. Not related to me at all. Sorry, buddy. It's just the way it is. Once I have a few more components, I could definitely expand the power grid a bit and add in some Devil Strand growing there. That could be useful. Alright, Mr. Stormy, haul this chunk. I still have the rescue operation in the back of my mind. I haven't forgotten about that. Alright, so the bedrooms are a little bit warmer than the rest of the base. The dining room is a little bit cooler because it doesn't have an airlock to the outside. And there's also a lot of non-insulating walls that I need to put in. All right, how bad is your... Oh, not terrible. I'm glad it warns me of medical emergency. I did, of course, code it that way, but it is very useful. So this room here, somewhat impressive. Okay. I find that agreeable. I think we've removed all of our steel furniture, but then, of course, we hit a node of steel, so... Ooh, more beer? Nice. Something I find very important to do is to always have drugs on hand to manage their moods. So if we want this to be traversed... Ouch, that sucks. Traversed faster, we're going to need some lights in there. But as you can see, just as a desire path, they're using it a lot now. It is a lot faster to go through that hallway. So the light starts to diminish at around this corner. So I'll put a standing lamp in there. And run power down. Caravan request from Eos. Jackets for Infinite Chem Reactor and Cooking Neurotrainer. 2 Chem Reactors would be super cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and do it. Put cotton in here instead of rice. We have a lot of built up rice, so I can definitely afford to do that. Aggro's plowing through the marble blocks. Might as well call this base Marble Quarry at this point. Look at all these. We've got like 600 blocks now. If I zoom out, I'll be able to... Yep, 745. More than I even thought. We are going to have to affect the rescue. Oh, who was this art? Oh, Stormy, you're not the artist. I was wondering why that was never getting created. Okay. Mr... Okay, good, good. The nighttime set in and... the power cut. Trying to conserve power. When power runs out and runs pretty low, often, So now I'm planting cotton instead of rice so that... Ooh, inspired creativity. Plants, melee. Ooh, okay. I can't really take advantage of that inspired creativity. Let's go ahead and make one small sculpture with Stormy. Oh, any worker. Stormy with marble. Even though I just canceled the last one. And allow you to do art this one time. And we'll see how good art we're able to obtain from this. Now all the places that won't vent me out to, well, I'm using Stationeer's terms, but all the places that won't open up the walls to the outside, I'm going to start replacing with blocks. And then once Janes's radiation gets a little bit lower, it's still 36, I will double wall this for better insulation. Fortunately, we're in summer. It's not going to be summer very long, but we're in summer, so we're not facing the more dramatic cold that we could be. Oh, wow. It was actually very, very good. I got very lucky on the luck rolls there. It's a masterwork. Okay, that's cool. We will install that in our wonderful little dining room. Tony, can you clean then haul? Yeah. I'll be much better. Prosthetics is researched. I don't have the fabrication or the multi-analyzer for the bionics. Long-range mineral scan might be able to get me the plasteel I need, but the only issue is I don't have the advanced components to even build that. So given that is the case, a lot of people have been mentioning geothermal. I guess I'll start to research it. So I can't harness geothermal's thermal properties, but I can harness the power. So I might as well do that. It's a pretty good source of power, for sure. And now this is a very impressive dining room. That wonderful statue has benefited us. Sector drone is ending. Although you wouldn't know it, these guys are plenty happy. I'm staring at this door. We are having to open it and close it quite a bit. It's a contender for another auto door. The issue is every auto door that you have can fail and cause more components use, and then they're not free to make. So there's a lot of reasons why I haven't auto doored everything. We have 11 days. There's also going to be a lot of meat out there. So Stormy and Aggro were the ones I was thinking of sending. Aggro is almost done with his radiation, so he's not going to slow us down that much. If we're going to do that, we probably also need to account for the fact that whoever's out there might need warm clothing. So I would have Janes give up his parka. We haven't used the wool yet, but the reason is I'm trying to become a better crafter before we do that. That won't actually fill, that won't make this indoors or anything. It just fills up the radiation, so I know not to stand there ever. Once we build it. If we build it, because it's kind of looking like we're not. Because at the moment what happens is marble blocks that we make sometimes get produced in that spot. So we'll fill that up. That's one weird cave there. I guess that power conduit really doesn't harm us. We have 2 dead power things here. Okay. Alrighty. No. I am not even sure where he was trying to go, but I know I'm not going to allow that. We did have one more Parker queued up, but I think we're going to cancel that in lieu of getting the jackets. AO says we need... How long have they given me? 21 days? That's not going to be too hard to meet, I don't think. Oh, come on, guys. Don't step over a problem and make it someone else's issue. All right, you are hauling... Good. Getting rid of all those chunks, turning them into blocks. So I actually have 30 more gold than I needed. I mixed up my gold and plasteel, so we have 30 more gold than we need. Doesn't get us a royal bed, but it might be useful. I didn't realize there was another sculpture made. This should probably contribute to how nice our dining room rec room is. If we can get it to extremely impressive, that would be great. A lot of running there, Tony. A lot of hauling. Alright, the rescue attempt should be made soon. The issue is weight. These guys need to weigh just a little bit less to be able to get there. So let's take a look. We need to be about 75 kilograms. And they are, Tony is, but everyone else is a little bit more than that. So if we take a look at aggro, I'm not going to be able to shed significant weight without either ditching the parka, which I'm not going to want to do because it's cold out, or ditching the bolt action. So I think the result is walking there, which means we're going to need to get some additional food. Perfect. Thank you. It's cold enough outside that refrigeration isn't all that necessary. Like, for survival meals or whatever. You know, we can obviously just eat what we have. So what I'm going to do is... Janes, you are going to ditch your parka. And then... Stormy and aggro, we're going to have you go and rescue. So you're going to take 24 meals. It's way more than we need. A few meds. And a few tea. And go to the rescue. I also want to make sure... also load the parka in. Not much point to... Okay. And they're exiting the south side. Why? Okay, whatever. It's... some radiation buildup I'm just going to have to live with. They're exiting the south side because I told them to exit the south side. I'm going to have to fix that in the future. Okay, so they're heading to get... Stormy's heading to get his father-in-law's rescued. What I should do is queue up my jacket queue. So we need 9 normal or better. So, Bill. Make jackets. do until we have 9 of normal or better out of cloth only. Actually, that wasn't cloth only. This is cloth only. If I have any leathers, I don't want to use it that way either. And this should be made with our best crafter only, who just left the who is our best crafter? Okay, it's aggro. So I'm going to suspend that until aggro gets back. Here's some more art. We live in like a little marble cave. I'm not sure seeing marble art would make me all that happy. Most of this can also be used for trade goods. Granted, they're heavy, so they're hard to send around, but it's not a terrible idea. So Jane's the artist. Mr. Janes, what if you're spending so much darn time working there? I'll give you a stool. Alright, these two are quite happy to be making this trip. Now the trick is not to be fighting the dromedaries, but to dig into a mountain and allow me to take cover from the would-be radiation. However, that's going to be for next episode, because I'm just about out of time, guys. So if you have any feedback for me, drop me a line. If you have any questions about this series, let me know. If you'd like to discuss it, Discord's the place to be, and I'll have to catch you all next time. So thank you all very much for watching. Thanks for all your wonderful feedback. Thanks for all the people that voted. Thanks to all of my patrons that make this all possible, and I'll catch you all later. Adios, friends.